What up? 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 What's good, y'all? It's Cril from Out the Box. Welcome to another video. so, yo, I know y'all don't really see me impromptu on a Friday night doing a live show, but I just was feeling like I gotta try to hit this live thing a little bit more. I know we getting to the close of the year. So I haven't gotten a chance to do a lot of live shows. But I had some things on my mind that I wanted to talk about, man. So a lot of things I want to talk about. Maybe not a lot, but a few things. Definitely I want to talk about the verses from last night. Even though I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't too excited about this verses. I wasn't it wasn't like I was looking forward to it. But it's some things that happen in this verses that I just got to talk about. And I also want to talk about this topic off of an article that I actually got a chance to read yesterday that this writer from Complex Music did. Let me make sure I got the correct name. His name is Andre G on Complex Music. He did an article titled "What Does Underground Rap Mean Today?" And I thought that was a real interesting article because I've been a fan of underground hip hop for a long time, and I've seen the different stages of it and kind of what it resonates as today. And there's so many different ways to look at it. So I definitely want to dissect that topic because it's an interesting topic. So yeah, man, shout out to that brother Andre G who wrote that article on Complex. What what does underground rap mean today? And then I also want to talk about some of the new releases that came out. As you know, I've been doing like music reviews on my other YouTube channel, Out the Box Media, which I just started really just for music reviews. So yeah, I just wanna chill with y'all tonight, man. I just want to rock out. You know what I mean? So hope everybody's chill on a Friday night. We gonna get it in. We gonna get some convo happening. As you can see, I got the website up there, outtheboxmedia.com. I put out an episode today. So, yo, if you didn't get a chance to go check that out, it's on this channel, Out the Box TV, but it's also available on the audio podcast platforms via the podcast Out the Box Talks. All right. I did an interview with Fillmore Green, MC out of Chicago, and we talked about his new album, Knowledge and Power, and a lot of cool stuff in that interview. So, I know my interviews be a little long sometimes, but if you can muster up maybe the first 10 minutes to listen, I think it'll grasp your attention where you will at least, be willing to go back to it if you can't listen all the way through on the first shot. So yeah, man, we gonna get this thing going. What's up, Umo? What's up, brother, man? How you doing? My man DJ Umo in the place to be. Yo, dope DJ out there in Denver, man. Shout out to you, brother. Yeah, man. So let's talk about this, man. Let me get my banners up. Hold on. Let me throw my banners up. So I don't know. Did y'all catch this versus last night? Like I said, I wasn't even gonna watch this Bone Thugs and 3-6 Mafia versus, but somehow I got caught up in it. And I gotta say, man, it was an interesting versus. Let me start by saying I heard that it took mad long to start. I heard that, like when I caught it, when I was able to tune in, it had already started. But I wasn't one of them cats that was like waiting for it to start. So by the time I caught it, I had thought that it was like well into the verses, but it looked like they had just started. And I gotta say, man, I'm more of a Bone Thugs fan than I am 3-6 Mafia. And I underestimated the records that 3-6 Mafia had, like the hit records they had. And they definitely showed themselves last night with their hit records. So let me see. So yeah, man. I just in in me checking it out, immediately I was like, oh, I like this. I like, I was feeling the Bone Thugs records, more so those records, because I was more into their music. I wasn't a huge Bone Thugs fan, but I like their level of skill. Like they're really skilled, and their ability to harmonize as well too is really dope. So it was cool to hear them do joints that I was familiar with back in the like late 90s when they were like in their prime. So it was cool to see them. And then when 3 6 came on with their joints, I was like, okay, I remember that. I was like in college back then when they was like doing their thing. Cause you gotta think Bone Thugs is earlier than 3 6 Mafia. Initially, I didn't think that this matchup was gonna work in the first place. Cause I was like, it's just two different types of sounds, but it actually worked, and I was pleasantly surprised that of what 3 6 was able to pull off. Now, obviously, you guys probably know by now there was a fight that took place, and I mean it was more of like a brawl that went down, you know. Um, and I don't know how deep it got, but what I did notice was that people were saying it was Busy's fault for starting the actual fight or the altercation. But if you really look at it, I had to, he did throw the mic, right? But that's after Juicy J told him, suck my, I won't say the rest. And I gotta say, if you from the hood, you know, if those words are used, Esma, you know what I mean? That's like, what happens after that, So I think that kind of just escalated things where he threw the mic. I don't think he should have threw the mic in the first place. I think he should have probably chilled back his best. But I mean, like, somebody tell you that's almost like fighting words. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of escalated everything further, you know. But obviously, him throwing the mic is what set everything off, you know. So I don't want to, dwell too much on that situation. I was disappointed. I was actually shocked that it happened, but I was really disappointed because I was like, man, this is gonna make hip hop look bad, right? It's gonna give it that stigma that it always gets, and I just wasn't feeling that it happened in a hip hop show, you know. But I have to say, I thought the joint was gonna be over. I honestly thought they were gonna wrap up the show. I thought that was gonna be it. I thought close out. No more verses for the night. But I gotta give them props. They came back and they worked it out. And even though when they came back, Busy wasn't on the stage, I still kind of was happy to see that majority of the two groups were on the stage and they were able to finish it out. Like I said, this wasn't my type of verses. I know y'all probably looking at me talking about this verses and maybe a little bit surprised, because I'm talking about this, but I'm really only talking about it in the realm of hip hop, right? And I really just wanted to highlight more so the positive things that happened from this particular verses. So aside from the fight that did happen, we moved on and they came back and they were able to piece it up. And the energy that they came back with was more love. I felt like in the beginning they were doing like the back and forth, you know, talking stuff. And sometimes that does create an environment where people get more upset. But I think the two parties have to be really, really mature to deal with the back and forth, right? And I don't think they initially wanted to take it there with what happened with the fight. I think it just happened off of things that just escalated. But more than anything else, I was glad to see them come back and show love and respect to each other. And literally, when they came back on stage after that fight, you know what I'm saying? I thought that the energy was way more love. Like I think it probably should have been like that from the beginning. So it was cool that they came through. You know what I'm saying? Yo, shout out to Sabrina. Yeah, I see, Gangsta Boo, she was definitely talking her stuff. You know, I mean, I think that's what happens though, right? Like in these verses and stuff, people talk back and forth and stuff. But yeah, she was definitely talking her stuff. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm glad that everybody kind of just pieced it up, and it was all love, with the verses. You know, now let me just say this: when they came back on and they started bringing out all the guests and stuff, I thought it was cool that the guests that 3-6 brought out, they really did their thing with the guests. I was not expecting them to have that much guests. Like, I mean, who did they bring out? Like, they definitely won the guest features, like between them and Bone Thugs. And I'll leave my results for the for when I finish this discussion about who I think won. But I think it's clear most people know who won. But yeah, so like they brought out everybody from Project Pat to MJG and 8 Ball, Wiz Khalifa, Lil Wayne. They brought out actor Terrence Howard. They brought out Lil Flip. I haven't heard from Lil Flip in a long time. They had Young Buck. They had a lot of features, man. So that was dope. That was a big highlight. And I gotta say, like, what was a little surprising for me with 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 3-6 Mafia was a lot of the strip club records that they were performing. Like initially, it was surprising for me. I was like, "Yo, what's going on?" Like, and then I stopped like shortly after, and I said, "Oh, what am I thinking? Like, this is what they've always done." You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what they've always done. Then they bring the dancing sister out, and she starts twerking, and they're throwing money, and I'm like, "Yo, what is going on?" Like, but then again, I'm reminded, like, oh, this is what they do. This is what their records are about. So I just was like, yo, I mean, I was initially surprised, but then I was just like, I'm not surprised. But this definitely was not a show for kids to be looking at. I'll tell you that. Maybe that's the reason why it started so late. I think also, I'm not sure who it was, but I think they were running late, which I'm not sure which crew it was, but yeah, man. Yeah, word, Sabrina. Yeah, different styles, man. Yup, word. Different styles. I think it was kind of a mismatch, but I honestly gotta say, like, it worked out better than I expected. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but I definitely hear you with the mismatch because I just didn't think it was gonna work. But maybe because of that whole southern Midwest vibe, that's why it worked. I don't know, but for some reason it worked out better than I thought it would work. I mean, I don't know, like, who else would have been, you know like, I don't know if anybody out there is checking this out, but like, if y'all could tell me, like, who else would have made sense for Bone Thugs, or who else would have made sense for 3-6 Mafia. I'm not sure what crew or what group would have been able to go up against each of them if it wasn't the two groups that we saw. So it was entertaining. I'll say that. And I think Bone Thugs did an awesome job doing them. Like, they didn't come out of their lane. It was also cool that we got some features from them too. We had Chameleon there. We had Lil Jon, and they also brought out Lil Easy. So that was cool to see too. I gotta say too, as soon as I tuned in, I saw the yellow tape, and that already blew my mind. I was like, why is there a yellow tape? And I don't know if that was the reason why that yellow tape was there, is because they probably thought that things was gonna go down, and it actually did. Like the fighting went down, but that was weird to me. I was just like, why is there yellow tape? So I think, well, the yellow tape went down by the time they came back. But I thought it was cool that they eventually had to get rid of that yellow tape, because it was just awkward to me. I wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, I like the features. I like the love. It was a lot of H-Town, like Houston, rappers in there, man, and a lot of Houston artists. And to my knowledge, the event was in LA, right? So I think they were just like, I didn't expect that it was gonna be this much guest features. Like, these are some pretty known names. Like, for all of them to show up like that for 3-6, that was dope. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, MJG and 8 Ball versus 3-6 Mafia. Yeah, that would have been good too. That's a good point, Sabrina. Yeah, MJG and 8 Ball. But it was cool to see them come out. That would have been a nice matchup. You right. You right. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, man. So, oh, see, you got it. You got it. So the yellow tape was one of their albums. Okay. So I totally missed it then. Yeah. I didn't know that. Okay. Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting that the yellow tape was kind of like a prop, but then a fight broke out and they had to break down the yellow tape. That's crazy. But yeah, man, like, overall, I liked I'm glad I gotta say I'm glad that they came back and pieced it up and they were able to perform again, because they definitely, both groups put on a show. It was definitely an adult show. It wasn't for, it was for adults to see. But it was an entertaining show. Like I said, it's not my cup of tea, but it was just so much laughs with this one, you know. And I just, at the end of the day, I gotta say, I love the fact that they pieced it up. I think the highlight of the show to me, though, was the Crossroads performance at the end, like, and the beatboxing that came after, where they were freestyling. I was like, that's what's up. They doing that for the culture. That's good. But the highlight for me was, one, the Busy coming back out and piecing it up and apologizing and stuff. So that was definitely a highlight. And also, when they did the Crossroads at the end, that was dope, man. Like, I'm glad, like, because at any point in the verses, Bone Thugs could have done Crossroads, because it's such a big record, and it could have been a nice matchup to go against one of 3-6's big records. But nah, they waited and they chose to do it for everyone, with everyone together, in honor of the brothers and sisters we lost in the community, in the hip hop community. So I thought that was very admirable that they chose to close it in that way. So yeah, man. So I mean, this was dope. I mean, like I said, it's not my favorite verses, but in tuning in, I was actually entertained, and for the most part, I thought, the respect for the culture came together at the end, and I was just glad, for hip hop's sake, that they were able to piece it up and show that kind of love, man. So yeah, man. Word, word, word. Yeah, man. So yeah, man. This was an interesting one. I'm curious to see what verses comes next. I haven't been, like, checking the radar to see, okay, um, what's what they're talking about in terms of the next verses. Now, I did hear that Styles P had responded it to Raekwon and Ghost's interest in doing a versus with the Locks. So I think that should be interesting if we see it. I don't know how it's gonna go per se, because I think it's gonna be fun to see, but considering that the Locks already did a versus and they did a lot of their joints already, I think that if the Locks do a versus with Ghost and Ray, or maybe it's just Styles and Jada do the verses with Ghost and Ray. If it happens, they may have to switch it up a little bit, like at least Styles and Jada. If it's them, then but they got enough records that I'm sure they could pull records that they didn't pull from the Dipset verses and still make it interesting. But I would love to see that, man. Word, Queen Latifah and MC Lyte. Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that would be dope. Yeah, we gotta get a ladies versus. Have we? I mean, like MCs. Like I know we've had like, didn't like Lil Mo and somebody do verses the other day or something? Or I'm bugging. Nah. It was like Keisha Cole and somebody else. And I know Monica and Brandy did it. But yeah, man, I would love to. Oh, that's a dope one, Sabrina. Queen Latifah and Light. That's a dope one. Yo, have they been talking about that? Anybody spoke about the potential for that? That would be dope. Yeah, that would be dope. And you know what? No, would be ill too. Like if they did that, like Queen Latifah and MC Lyte did a versus. Yeah, even Trina, you right. Yeah, I did. Even Trina did do one. See, I'm forgetting. Yeah, that was dope. That was dope. But nah, that Latifah and MC Lyte, that would be dope. Yeah, and what would be even dope is like they bring out like other female MCs as guests too, like on each side, yo. Foxy and Kim, you know what I mean? Rhapsody. That'd be, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. So yeah, I would love to see Queen Latifah and Light, man. See, y'all got some good good ideas, for verses, man. So yeah, big ups to Swiss and Timberland. Y'all doing y'all thing, man. I appreciate what y'all do for the culture with verses. That definitely means a lot. Yeah, Moni Love, man. Moni Love, that'd be nice too, man. Yeah, man. Speaking of Moni Love, I wanted to talk about today that Arrested Development, if you guys familiar with Arrested Development, with MC Speech and his band, he put out a new album today, and it's called For the FKN Love, produced by Configure, and Moni is on a track on there. He even got Sugar Hill Gang on the album. So yo, go check that out if you get a chance, yo. Arrested Development, yo, they still going. Shout out to Speech, still doing this thing, man. So yeah, man. So yeah, like I'm gonna wrap this thing up with the verses. So I'm gonna say this, man. As much as I was rooting for Bone Thugs, and it's the group that I favor more, I gotta give it to 3-6. They won. I mean, they were just liver. They just had the hits, they had the guests, their energy was just up there, and I underestimated all of the hits they got. Like when they came with that Andre 3000 record, I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot about that. So yeah, they won. They won that. They won it. But Bone is definitely my favorite group out of the two. And I prefer their vibe. But yeah, 3-6 definitely did their thing. They won. They won. But yeah, man. So I want to move on to the next thing. You know, I wanted to talk about this article that I saw, that I read yesterday. It was actually, I read it late last night, right around the same time I was watching the verses. And the article is by a brother named Andre G. He wrote a article on Complex Music, and the article is titled "What Does Underground Rap Music? What does underground rap mean today?" And what caught my attention, honestly, was the image that was put up. There's an image of a bunch of like underground hip hop MCs, from the 90s all the way to today. And one of the brothers that's like front and center in the image is a brother that I got so much respect for. I got a chance to interview him earlier this year on Out the Box Talks, right here on this channel, Out the Box TV. And his name is Rap Ferreira. So it was dope to see brother Rap Ferreira on that, in the image of that post. I'm trying to actually pull up the joint. So yeah, man, that intrigued me seeing him on there, and there's other like other artists that I'm very familiar with. Armin Hammer is up on the image. There's I think Mavi is on there. I'm trying to pull Aesop Rock is on there. Of course, the late great MF Doom is on there. Just like artists that I know to be underground in terms of what I came up listening to. So I was already intrigued by the post and the image that went along with the post. So as I was tuning in, I'm trying to pull the article up. As I was tuning in and I was reading the article, it made a lot of sense. Like the article was talking about like today, underground hip hop has taken on this new understanding, right? Like before, underground was kind of like the under the radar stuff, right? Like the music that people wouldn't really be checking for in the mainstream, right? And I think a lot of these artists that are classified as underground still are not necessarily mainstream artists, but you know, these were the type of artists that maybe their message wasn't a commercial message. But now you got artists who might have something really thought provoking or conscious to say in their music, like a J. Cole. Like we wouldn't consider him underground, but his content is very thought provoking. So that's why I use the title underground sometimes, but I like to focus on conscious hip hop and thought provoking hip hop because I think it's more clear as to what you're getting in terms of the focus of the music, right? The subject matter. And so I try to focus on that. But the article also talks about like the idea that nowadays, because of people having instant access, like it's like a direct consumer marketplace where somebody could literally upload music in their bedroom and it could get on a blog, and that blog could have a post by a really popular artist, and now this same artist that just posted their dope music from their bedroom that a lot of people may not know is sharing the same blog space. Like next post is like a very famous artist. So I definitely get that. Like the barrier to entry in terms of getting recognition is not as, you know, it's not as gatekept as before. So I think nowadays, man, like we're living in an age where you could just put your stuff up out there, and if it catches the right, you know, influences attention, or if it catches the right blog's attention, you could get that recognition, and people start to know you. We also in the age of like playlists, right? You could be somebody that's not known too well and then show up on a playlist and start getting recognition that way. you know yeah, I dig that, Sabrina. Yeah, they pure hip-hop to me too. Like, that's how I resonate with underground artists. Like, yeah, the same way, pure hip-hop, authentic, you know conscious, creative, maybe left field, all the stuff that is not what the status quo is pushing in terms of hip-hop music. So that's why I still rock with the underground hard, man. But I do think that according to the article, like, you know, it makes a lot of sense, because they even talked about like West Side Gun and Griselda, and how some people may classify them as underground, and maybe they are, but when you think about it, they're not really under the radar. He's a former Shady Records signee. He sat front row in Paris at a Paris fashion show week, and been around people like Jay-Z and Drake and Kanye and stuff like that. So, is he underground? Like, or is Griselda underground? Like, I think their movement has a underground, how you say, come up to it, but they're getting known now, you know. And it's so interesting because Sky Zoo made a post the other day on Twitter about the Grammys possibly, you know, hoping that the Grammys maybe one day will, I don't know, create a category for underground hip hop. And I thought about that, and although I don't think it should be that the Grammys have to categorize rap or hip hop even further, I think like every year except for last year when we saw the best rap albums, that was like the most, how you say, balanced Grammy nomination I've ever seen for rap albums, right? Like you had like independent artists that were nominated, and now this year we're back to the same regulars, like, you know. And it's nothing against those artists. I think they put out great music, but like, why can't Sky Zoo's album, like, if any album should have been nominated for a Grammy this year in the independent scene, it should have been Sky Zoo's album, you know, that he released earlier this year. So I was disappointed. I thought maybe, you know, I didn't even see Mark Homie's album up there. You know, I thought he might have got the nomination, you know. But of course, certain people were up there and stuff, you know. And like I said, you know, big ups to all of the artists, but I just feel like, do we need an underground version or underground hip hop album of the year for the Grammys? I don't know. I think it would be cool though if we got it, because maybe it'll give some more recognition. I feel like jazz gets way more love in terms of like, you know, some of the independent artists or the artists you might not know about, but their talent is taken so seriously. But hip hop to me is always the same thing. You know, I'm happy that Nas got the nomination again this year, you know, but I think last year it was just way more balanced, man, you know. So yeah, man. I mean, underground hip hop today, I think it's taking on a whole new thing. But for me, I try not to focus on underground hip hop per se, you know, the term. Even though I rock with the term, I'm not one of those people that I'd be like, oh, don't call me underground. Like, I respect the term, you know what I mean? And I know what it represents. And it may represent different things to different people, but for me, being from New York, the underground scene to me is that raucous, you know, what is it, Def Jux era, you know what I'm saying? That's the underground to me, you know. Stone's Throw, you know, even Mellow Music Group, to me, all of that's the underground to me, you know what I mean? And like the sister said, you know what I'm saying, pure hip hop, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I see it as, you know what I mean? But yeah, let me know what y'all think underground hip hop is today. You know, the article even spoke about, like, you know, Jay Electronica, you know, and his music kind of being similar to like, or in the same lineage of like a Killer Priest or a Dead Prez, but yet he did an album with Jay-Z. But even before he did the album with Jay-Z, he was just like, he was huge, you know. So I mean, it's a debatable topic, you know, like what is, you know, what is underground hip hop today, or what does underground rap mean today? You know, I think it means different things, you know, but I think two things are definitely common. It could either be music that's under the radar that most people don't know about, or it could be the music that doesn't get the commercial or the mainstream airplay, or more specifically the music that's not talking that commercial stuff, right? Or it's not promoting materialism or gangster rap and so forth. It's more the music that's, you know, either conscious, thought provoking, or totally left field, maybe abstract, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I would consider. I think it falls in any of those categories, right? You know, under the radar, so you could be doing, you know, materialistic hip hop, but if you're not known, I guess people could consider that underground too. Or it could just be that your music is not the music that is giving off the commercial message, So it is, I guess, what you choose to relate to it as. But I tell you one thing, I rock with the thought-provoking, conscious, and creative hip hop. And that's the type of artist I like to showcase on this platform. And speaking of that, I do want to say, man, it's been on my mind for a little bit lately, where I've been thinking about um this a lot of the interviews that I did this year. We coming on the close of 2021, which I can't believe is almost over. And I did a lot of interviews this year. And I have to say, man, there are a lot of artists that I truly believe in and I think is extremely talented. And I was a little disappointed at the views that I got for some of these interviews that I did. And I don't know. I feel like I gotta talk about that. Like, lately, I've noticed like a lot of other YouTube shows popping up, and a lot of interviews with artists that was big in the 90s, and you know people were familiar with on a big scale in the 90s. And I see those interviews getting a lot of traffic. So I understand it. I understand um why people are gravitating towards a lot of those artists that we came up with in the 90s, and the artists that we watched even on MTV and BET back in the 2000s. But I still feel like we're missing out on so much talent that exists today. And maybe I'm way too ahead with this. I really be thinking I'm way too ahead sometimes, because a lot of I'm not, I gotta say, I'm not as excited as trying to interview these artists that came up in the 90s anymore. Like, I don't get me wrong, I don't mind interviewing them, but like, I'm actually more excited with discovering new talent and doing interviews with them. But I think I've chosen a path, in that approach, where it's not getting me a lot of views. And I get that. You know what I mean? I'm starting to get that now. And it disappoints me a lot. So I'm conflicted. I'm like, man, but I know I believe in these artists, and I know that there's a group of people out there that see and recognize, but I just be feeling like, man, like, wow, like, why can't these artists get more love? Like, and I know my taste is not everyone's taste, right? I know there's artists I've probably interviewed on the platform that a lot of people may not like. So I get that too. But I mean, there's so much talent out here. And it's like, for me, every day I'm looking to see what's new, what's dope. And I'm also looking to see new releases from artists in the independent scene that I've always been checking for as well. You know, yeah. Word, word. Okay. Yeah. Sabrina said, I believe that the verses brought out people wanted to know more about these artists who did not come up in this era. I agree. I agree. I agree. I think, like, for instance, when KRS and Big Daddy Kane did their verses, there was some artists that they brought out that I think people that might not have came up in that era might not know, and it intrigued them to go look them up. You know what I mean? Like Nice and Smooth. I could imagine there's a lot of young kids out there that might not know who they are, and then they probably went and looked them up, you know. But yeah, I think so too, man. That's the beautiful thing about um verses, is like, it's not just this event where you get to see the two headlining acts go against each other. You get to see the features and the surprises that they bring out. And if you're there because you heard about the verses, and maybe you're coming for the main acts, you might learn something new, you know. Yeah, man. So like, want to know about these artists who did not come up in the era. Yeah, I think that's true, man. They get to know more that's out there. Yeah, man. Yo, thanks for rocking with me, Sabrina. I appreciate you, yo. Word, man. I could dig that. Yeah, man. Yup. People need to know about the foundation of hip hop. It's not based on what they have out there now. Absolutely. I agree. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Hip hop, we have to do the knowledge. We gotta go back to the roots. You know, I gotta say, man, before that, Kane and KRS verses, even though I gotta say I didn't, I'm an 80s baby, but I didn't grow up like literally listening to Kane and Chris. But I had to go back. I had many times where I went back and I tried to listen to their music. And even right before the verses, I made sure and I got up on Spotify and I was just listening to a lot of Kane's music, and I even did some art. That's another thing I do. I do a little drawing at times, so yeah, man. I think you absolutely right. Like the verses enables you to go back to the foundation. I ain't gonna front though, because I'm such an underground hip hop, fan. I would love to see a verses with like an elite underground hip hop group. Like I would love to see like Black Star versus like who could Black Star go against? I want to say Dead Prez, but I'm not sure. But I would love to see that happen. I don't know though. I don't know if the community is going to be big enough to support that though. But I would love to see it for the culture, man. You know. Yeah, I could dig it. I could dig it. Like the veteran interviews, I love seeing that. Like I just got watched the Ray and Ghost joint on Nori's joint. That was dope. That joint was like 4 hours long, but I learned a lot, and I think that's dope to see. But my thing is like what I be, and this is just my personal feeling from what I've been doing with the shows. Like I be feeling like, damn, like it's so much. Honestly, I feel like I'm ahead of the game, to be honest with you. I feel like what I'm doing now is probably gonna make more sense 10 years from now, right? So like I just be wanting folks to tap into some of the artists that I be showcasing here, because I think a lot of these artists are really dope and they're going to be the next big thing. I really believe that. You know what I mean? I just put out a hoodie on my merch page on Patreon. I'm sorry, Big Cartel, my merch page, and it says today's underdog is tomorrow's champion. Know your worth. So I really be feeling like that. The underdog, like I root for the underdog heavily, like almost too much. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. Like I'm very, very excited about the new stuff that's coming out. And I feel like a lot of people ain't gonna get that until 5-10 years later. And I'm gonna tell you this: like if you go back to my earlier interviews, like I got interviews with Odyssey, I got interviews with Kendrick Lamar. I mean, he was definitely on the double XL cover at that time, and people were starting to know him, but he's a whole different popularity now. You know what I'm saying? And if you just look at some of my older interviews, I got interviews with people that now, if you look at them now, like they're huge. Well, maybe not all of them are huge, but they're a lot bigger now. And I'm saying this because I experienced this. So I'm telling you, like a lot of the artists that I'm not going to say every one of them, but a lot of artists that's on this platform right here, if you just go back and look, just give it about 5 years, yo. You're going to see that some of them are going to get bigger. And they may not all become like the hugest names, but they're going to become bigger. They're going to become more known, and it's simply because they're talented. That's the simple reason. As much as a lot of us tend to complain about hip hop and hip hop being this thing where, it's only pushing, the mainstream commercial type sounding artists. yo, hip hop is paying attention to the talent too. That's the one thing. And I told my brother A Level this, like, the the back in the days, like in the 90s, a lot of us, there were only like 2 or 3 platforms that we went to listen to new music, right? It was our local radio station, which has become like a commercial radio station now, which played more diverse hip hop. And then we had things like BET and even like Ralph McDaniel's music box, video music box, which shout out to Nas, who, from what I understand, has his directional debut with the film on Ralph McDaniel's video music box. I remember when Ralph used to have his store out in Brooklyn, and when I was living in Brooklyn, and I used to be able to go to the store. I got a funny story about going out there one time. Back in the days, this is something I'm gonna share with y'all. Back in the days, um, people used to call me Nas. When I was in high school, they said, yo, that was like my nickname, Nas, because they said I looked so much like him back in the 90s and stuff. And one time I went to Ralph's store, and so I think I don't know if it was me that told him or somebody that was with me that was telling him I look like Nas and stuff. So that was funny. But yeah, shout out to Ralph McDaniels and Video Music Box. It's so dope to see him get his just due with this documentary. But yeah, so I lost my train of thought. But what was I saying? What was I saying? But yeah, I mean, in terms of the dope hip hop that's out there, man, today, man, like I think I just really believe in a lot of the artists, man. Like the artists I interviewed, Fillmore Green, and all of the artists that I interviewed this year, like I'm telling you, I really believe these artists are gonna get a lot bigger. Not everybody is going to grow to be bigger. It just happens in the biz, but I think they're gonna get stronger and stuff. Oh, word, word. New York City is the place. Word, Sabrina. Yeah, like there's a certain essence of coming from New York City. Like I was telling somebody the other day, like when I went to junior high school in Brooklyn, and when Wu-Tang came out, Wu-Tang was like the soundtrack to life. I must have been about, how old was I in junior high school? What, 12 years old or something? Like when Wu-Tang came out with 36 Chambers, I literally, me and my homies, we was acting like we was the Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just something about Wu that it embodied what it was like. We were like younger versions of them. Like it embodied what I was seeing in Brooklyn. The gear, the Timberlands, the Bubble Gooses, and all of that. Like that was that, yo, that felt real. Like it felt like we were really, they were like our older uncles or something. Like it really felt like that. So yeah, man. Like that's why I was watching the Wu-Tang Saga joint on Hulu. It just brought me back to memories, man. Like they were so New York with it, man. Even to this day, yo, like they so New York with it, man. But yeah, man, 36 Chambers, that was the joint. I find myself listening to a lot of Wu-Tang lately and just going back, man. Wu-Tang forever, man. I remember when I was at high school and I had gotten back then Sam Goody. I don't know if y'all remember Sam Goody. It was like a record store, and I had gotten a gift card for Christmas, and the gift card was maybe like $20 or something. And I knew that Wu-Tang Forever, because Sam Goody, when you go into Sam Goody, they would have the list of releases that would be coming out maybe like a month from now, weeks from now. And I think sometimes even a year from now, because I think that was the case with Wu-Tang Forever. I knew it was coming out like maybe like 6 months from the time I heard it was coming out. And I had got the gift card from Sam Goody and I saved that gift card from the Christmas when I got it all the way to I think the summertime when the album came out. I saved it. I was like, yo, this gift card is going to buy Wu-Tang Forever. That double album. And it was like an event, man. That's the thing I miss about going and being able to buy records. Like, even when like Virgin Records was around out here in Times Square in New York, I used to love to go out there and just go through all the different music, the jazz section, the hip hop section, the soul section, the underground section. It was always like fun to go seeking out music or go to Fat Beats and seek out music and stuff, you know. But like that those were the moments, man. Like when you would hear an album come out, it would get a release date like 6 months prior or 2 months prior, and you know, you and your boys is just like saving up the money or waiting, anticipating when it's gonna come out. We don't get that feel no more. We still get anticipation for records, but everything is so digital now. It's not the same feeling of like being able to physically go to the store and get these stuff. I should do a show about that though. You know what I mean? But let me move on to the next topic, and thank y'all for rocking with me, man. Let me just shout a few things out related to Out the Box. Remember, if you guys check my interviews, I got a Patreon page. Patreon.com/outtheboxmedia, where I have exclusive interview clips with artists. I have artist interviews that no one's heard before unless you're a Patreon subscriber. So if you like what I do with the interviews that I do every Friday, then definitely check that out. Also, I got the Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, where you can catch those interviews on Out the Box Talks. Also, I'm gonna throw up my my donation tag. So if you like what I do and you rock with me, man, you could definitely go support the platform. You could hit us up on Cash App or on PayPal, which is my Cash App is hashtag Out the Box Rep, and my PayPal is paypal.me/outtheboxmedia. So you could go hit me up there and support, the platform. Any donation amount is always appreciated. Thank you so much. If you like what I do, I've been doing this. I've been on YouTube since 2009. You know what I mean? So I've been doing interviews for a long time. And I gotta say, man, it's been fun doing it. But when one area where I went wrong is I had stopped putting up videos on this platform for maybe about 2 or 3 years. It was kind of off and on too. And I feel like I missed out on the followers and viewers. But let me say this. I just learned that I cracked 3,000 subscribers. So I know right now I don't have much people viewing, but I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. YouTube, what's good with that? Like I got 3,000 subscribers and I got like a few people live streaming with me right now. I don't understand, but whatever. But yeah, I gotta say it was really cool to see me get to 3K. I felt like it took me 2 years to get to 3,000. I was at like 2,000 and change for a long time. So to see the subscribers jump, I appreciate that. And I just recently saw that. So that was huge. You see in 2,000 for a long time, and then all of a sudden you see a number changes, like the main number. So that was cool to see. But yeah, man. So I love what I do. I feel like honestly, I'm one of the best interviewers out there, and I honestly say that I'm not the one to brag. Like I really try not to, but sometimes I felt like I needed to say it today because I be feeling like I'm the underdog out here. You know what I mean? Like I see so much people get on, and they're doing their thing, and big ups to them. But like I literally went to school for radio. I got a degree in radio. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing interviews since 2003. I wrote a book on how to do interviews. Like I don't know any of my peers that's done that. So I'm not knocking nobody out there. Do your thing, but like I definitely take this craft seriously, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I know my worth. So again, everybody, big ups to everybody out there doing their thing, but I just be feeling like sometimes, I be getting taken for granted. But I ain't trying to be bitter. You know what I'm saying? I you know, just felt like saying that. But yo, man, if you've been rocking with me, I really appreciate y'all. It means a whole lot to me. Um, let me yeah, no doubt. I'm glad you found the channel too, Sabrina. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yo, that's the other thing too. You probably found the channel because, you know, I don't usually talk about these kinds of subjects, right? And I'm learning that, like I'm usually on the pure hip hop stuff that you talk about. Like I don't really like be talking about every verses. But I'm learning that, I kind of gotta work with the algorithm at times. As long but integrity is important to me. So like I did this piece and I put it out there about this verses. Um and I wanted to really keep the integrity about it. I didn't want to really bring up the negativity like that. So if you notice, like my whole talk about this verses with 3 6 Mafia and Bone Thugs was really about how they came together in peace for hip hop. So, because my perspective is very like, I care about this culture. You know what I'm saying? You're right. Yeah, I got to stay true to me. Like, I care about this culture and I see how this culture is perpetuated for negativity. And that's never been my vibe. Right. And even if I listened to a lot of those records when I was younger, but as I get older, I realize that this culture is too important to be playing with like that. So I try to focus on the positive and the uplifting aspects of hip hop. But I know the algorithm be wanting you to talk about, all the stuff that everybody, all the controversial stuff, even though that's not my flow. I know sometimes with the algorithm, you got to do that, So I don't know. I'm kind of working my way into that. It's not a comfortable place for me because it's not my vibe, but I'm trying to do it in a way where I could keep the integrity because that means a lot to me. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I'm gonna try to do these lives more. One thing I want to say before I jump off this live though is there's a lot of releases that came out. A lot of releases that came out today and in the past couple of weeks that I want to shout out. So let me do this. Let me see if I can go to my things. All right, so let me just go straight for it. I don't want to like stall too long, but I want to shout out again Arrested Development. They got a new album out. It is entitled For the FKN Love. It's produced by a UK producer. I think he's from the UK. I'm sorry if I'm messing up where he's from, but his name is Configure, really dope producer, and it's a really great album. Speech from Arrested Development put out an album earlier this year too that I really like. But yeah, that's a big release. Also, for those that don't know, Styles P and Havoc dropped the album today too. Um, Let me just make sure I get the titles because I be, sometimes I be forgetting this stuff. But yeah, so Arrested Development's album is For the FK and Love, and Havoc and Styles' album is called Wreckage Manor. So it was actually cool to see Havoc of Mobb Deep and Styles P of the Locks come together and do an album. What I like about Styles is that he always is doing collabo albums. I think I gotta give him props for like always kind of like sharing the love, right? And doing albums. He did an album with Dave East. He did an album with Talib Kweli. He did an album with Havoc. Like these are all different types of artists. Like Kweli would be like the so-called underground rapper, right? And then Dave East is more like what you would consider like I'm not trying to put these brothers in categories, but just for sake of understanding, like he's more like the, you know, the newer version of MCs, but he's really dope, you know, very lyrically talented. And then also they got he did this album with Havoc, which is kind of like his peer. So it's cool to always see him doing these kinds of, you know, actual collabo albums, man. Big ups to you know, Styles P and Havoc, man. So they got a new album out today. Who else dropped the album? So recently I know artist by the name of Def C put out an album. Uh dope another dope MC out of Chicago. He put out an album with a producer by the name of Messiah Music. And it's on Backwoods record. Shout out to you know, Billy Woods and and you know, the Arm& Hammer cats, you know, the Arm & Hammer brothers. So yeah, man, shout out to Def C on that album. Put out a new album called Trapdoor. Then what else? What else got released recently? I be forgetting, man. And I've been doing reviews too. I know Killer Priest put out an album as well, with a producer by the name of Shroom. Album is called The Mantra. We are also Rap Forever put out an album. How could I forget his album, The Light Emitting Diamond Cutter Scriptures? I got to do a review on that. I got to get around to that. And for those that don't know, I have a review channel as well. It's just called Out the Box Media. It's on YouTube at Out the Box Media. So I do reviews, music reviews. I try to do them daily there as well. Who else dropped the album? Oh, in terms of the R&B world, you know, Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak dropped the album. I did a review on that. An Evening with Silk Sonic. That's a dope album. It's more of a mainstream record, but it's quality, right? So I don't care. It's dope. It's quality. You know, So I think that's a dope album that came out too. Shout out to K Tronada, who also put out a EP. It's like a 3-track EP. It's called Intimidated, and it features Thundercat, singer Thundercat, who I also interviewed on this platform too. That's another artist that I interviewed years ago that a lot of people didn't know who he was. Now a lot of people know who he is. I'm telling you, I've been on the wave, yo. Again, I'm not trying to toot my horn, but yo, sometimes I gotta let y'all know, you know what I mean? Like, I be modest for mad long. These days I'm starting to like speak a little more. But yeah, so K Tronada put out an album, Intimidated EP. It features Thundercat on it. It features her. So it's 2 vocalists, and then it got a track from Mock Homie on the end, the last track, which to me is the highlight on the project. But all the tracks are dope. And you know Mock Homie does his singing too. I'm sorry, Mock Homie. Let me say it right. Mock Homie. I be messing up the pronunciation. But he does his singing on there too. So shout out to K Tronada, who put out an EP. Who else? Novelist put out an album with a producer by the name of Dixon Hill. It's called A Book of Changes. Joel Ortiz put out an album as well recently, and it's on Mellow Music Group. I be forgetting the names of these albums. I swear I be forgetting these names. But yeah, that's a dope project as well. Who else? Stali and Apollo Brown put out an album called Black Light on Mellow Music Group. Big ups to Mellow Music Group. They always putting out dope releases for a long time. Ah, man. Of course, A$AP Rocky and Blockhead put out an album called Garbology. I did a review on that as well. So if you want to catch that review, it's on my other YouTube channel, Out the Box Media. You can catch reviews there. I'm gonna try to put a link to it in this video. So yeah, we getting ready to count down to the end of the year, and I can't wait to do my best releases. So if you've been rocking with me, you know, and you've been checking out this video, I encourage you to come back to this platform. I'm gonna have my brothers A-Level, my brother Mark, and hopefully my brother J Red. We're gonna get together on this panel, and we're gonna talk about the releases that came out this year. And what I love about the panel is it's diverse. So you're gonna get music releases from like different perspectives, but I think for the most part it's all going to be quality picks. It's December, so around this time of the year I probably need to get started sooner than later with starting to put together my top albums of the year, because it's going to be a long list that I got to narrow down. So yeah, man, if y'all are checking this out and y'all want to get a head start, put in the comments like what your favorite albums of the year is, so we could get this started. I want to see what people are checking for. I think we're pretty much at the end of the year. I feel like in December, maybe we may have like, I mean, we're in December, right? So maybe we'll have some surprises. I will say this though, that I'm gonna put out my project this year. For those that don't know, your boy Cril is an MC, and I gotta say, before I even started this journey in 2003, when I did my first interview in college radio, I was MCing. So this is like my MCing is my first in terms of my work in hip hop, right? So it's been a long time since I actually recorded music, and this year I mustered up the self-sufficiency to not only be able to record my own music but make my own beats. you know, I always wrote my own rhymes, but make my own beats, record the music, engineer the music, and put it out. So I'm really excited, and I'm definitely gonna be releasing my EP. It's called Growth and Balance on December 17th, Friday, December 17th. I have a few of the music that's going to be featured on the album that I released as singles on my Bandcamp page. I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna put up the link right now. I actually put the link in the description of the video, but you could go to my Bandcamp page. It's Cril at Bandcamp on Bandcamp. You just go to Bandcamp and just look for Cril Cril, and I got about 3 songs that are gonna be on the EP. I'm looking at about 7 or 8 songs that's gonna be fully on the EP, but I released about 3 of them already. So yeah, man, I'm excited. This is big for me because I never put out an official EP. I put out a project when I was in college, but it wasn't like all original beats and stuff. Like, this is like me producing everything, solely me. You get to hear me put it down as an MC, and it's gonna be more on a boom bap level in terms of the sound. But I'm really excited for y'all to hear it, man. So look for my new EP on December 17th. I hope people out there, appreciate the music. So yeah, man. So I'm not gonna stay too much longer. Like I said, I want to thank each and every one of you that have tuned in. Shout out to Umo that tuned in. Shout out to Sabrina. Thank you for being here. Yeah, stay with the channel, man. I want to definitely thank you for tuning in and rocking with me. Definitely stick with the channel and all the other stuff that I got going on, man. I'm gonna be trying to do more live videos. I'm going to be doing more live videos on the platform. I'm gonna try to, go live more often. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing more, man. I'm here to rock with y'all. So till my next show, go check out some of my previous episodes. Like I said, I got a new interview up on the channel today with Fillmore Green, a dope MC out of Chicago. And the album Knowledge and Power that he put out is produced by Rashid Hadi. So go check that out. Go check that interview out. And yo, man, go check out some of the other interviews too, man. And support the platform if you like what we do, man. I got the merch page. Also, let me throw that up real quick. The merch page is outtheboxmedia.bigcartel.com. I got a lot of cool like out the box merch, like this snapback hat there too, So yeah, whatever you resonate with, or if you just want to send the donations, you can do that too. Yo, man, yeah, man, I'm about to sign off. You know, I got so much I want to say too, though, but I'm gonna save it for the next video. Thank y'all again for rocking with me. Much love. Enjoy your Friday night, and you guys will see me for a next video pretty soon. All right, take it easy. Peace. One love.